I wanted to cover today ADHD and leaky gut syndrome and how it works. How it works that leaky gut can be a hidden root cause of the symptoms we see in ADHD with our kiddos. Now, this is a topic. This is a intro to this topic. We're not going to dive deep today, but you can check out some of our other offerings for that in the future. But a question I get a lot of times from people who haven't been presented with this idea about leaky gut and ADHD is, how could indigestion or digestive problems be causing behavior issues and brain issues with my child? Isn't it genetic? Weren't they just born without the ability to pay attention well? Or weren't they just born, isn't it their personality just to be hyperactive and not sit still? How could a gut leaking be causing that? And even if it could, how could my little child who's 5, 7, 8, 12, 13 years old have a leaky gut if they haven't even lived that long? How could they have so much injury or damage to that their gut is leaking? So here's how it can work. So we have this incredibly intricate barrier system, a membrane that lines the inside of our whole digestive system, really from our nasal passages, our mouth and throat, all the way down into our stomach, large, small intestine, all the way out the other end. And it's one tiny cell layer thick. That's half the width of a human hair. But if you took that whole surface area and stretched it out and spread it out, it would cover 2 tennis courts in size, still only 1 cell layer thick. It's a remarkable structure that we have in our body. And its job is to keep what needs to stay outside of our bloodstream out and allow the things that into our bloodstream in. So when we eat food, when we breathe things in, some of those constituents need to make their way into our system and some need to stay out. So this amazing barrier system, in combination with our microbiome, which is the bacteria and funguses and so forth that live in our digestive system, and in concert with our immune system, by the way, which 70% of our total body immune system exists right along that gut lining. All of those things work together to provide us with this protective barrier between harmful substances and helpful substances. Now, what can happen, and what is happening more and more increasingly in our modern day, is we get what is called intestinal permeability, also known as leaky gut syndrome. So in a sense, this barrier that's supposed to keep certain things out and only let certain things in is literally getting leaks in it. So now things are passing into our bloodstream that shouldn't be. These are things like undigested food particles, bacteria, viruses, and the chemicals, toxic often, chemicals that are produced by those bacteria and viruses. And as they make their way into the bloodstream, one thing happens, and that is our immune system gets hyperactivated as a result, because it's constantly now having to fight off these invaders. And that can often lead to autoimmune disorders and diseases and chronic inflammation, because inflammation is a big part of how the immune system does this work. That inflammation makes its way through our whole system and makes its way to our brain. Amazingly, the blood-brain barrier, the barrier that keeps our blood and things that are in the blood away from vital brain tissues and only lets certain things through and keeps certain things out, much like our gut lining, is actually structured the same way. So when we have toxins and environmental stressors that cause leaky gut, cause these holes in our gut, it also causes for leaky brain. So now these bacteria, viruses, toxic chemicals, undigested food particles, and now our overactivated immune cells can make their way into the brain in a way they shouldn't. This causes for inflammation in the brain. And in our kids, this causes for often symptoms that we associate with ADHD. So hyperactivity, difficulty following directions, difficulty modulating moods and staying calm, difficulty paying attention, difficulty sitting still, I might have said that, difficulty sleeping, fatigue, short-term memory issues, brain fog. In our adults, we see this as dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and so forth. So that's how our gut and leaky gut can affect our brain. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense for you, answers at least that very first question of what they could have to do with each other. And stay tuned for future episodes where we'll cover in more detail how some of these things actually work, what can cause them, and what to do about it. All right, bye-bye.